I'm Connie. Yanni? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with some more Bo Burnham. Because more of this has been requested by Venom. So I want to obviously address this because it's been a while since we reacted to some Bo Burnham content. And I've been kind of thoroughly confused about things with Bo Burnham. Um, I went into Bo Burnham's content not really knowing much of anything. I had seen the Welcome to the Internet or whatever it's called on TikTok and whatnot, but that's about it. I didn't know how his content typically goes, but I kind of always thought Bo Burnham to be just a pretty standard stand-up comedian whose, you know, material was relevant enough to get people's attention in a way that made him super popular, which has been done before. I mean, look at the likes of George Carlin. But going into it, both the first and the second video we did on this, I was confused because it's like I didn't really find it funny. And I know humor is subjective. I understand that comedy is very subjective, and what one person finds funny is not going to be what another person may find funny. But my issue was that I didn't really think they were jokes that he was making. He was pointing things out with society that, are true, but he wasn't doing it in a joking manner. He wasn't setting up any punchlines. He wasn't executing any jokes in any way. And so I was confused, and I believe I was told in the comments on those videos to basically just not look at Bo as a comedian, to look at him more as a singing entertainer who's, pointing out that stuff the with society and whatnot. I mean, I can look up specifics here if we want to go back into that, because it's been a while since I actually checked out those comments. And it's been a while since I, reacted to those videos in the first place. So let me check here. I got my YouTube studio open. The last Bo Burnham stuff I did was back in November. That was Art is Dead and How the World Works. And let's look at the comments from that. Yeah, so this one person is saying, I would disregard the label of comedian and just watch it solely as its own thing. Just know he is a creative force and artist. Some of his work is much higher and more much lighter, not higher, much lighter and more jokey, and there is a whole nother side to his work that is darker and more like the videos you've just watched. It's unfortunate to devalue content's merit based on my own closed-minded perspective. For example, when I look to watch a reaction, I look to see the actual reaction, and in the moment reaction. I would call this video more of a review or a reflection. This person, I guess, didn't realize that I redirect my reactions. I did mention that in a reply to them, but yeah. But this person's basically saying comedian is maybe not the best label for Bo. While he does have some lighter stuff that is more comedic in nature, more jokey, there is a lot of this more darker stuff that is more focused on, social commentary in a way. Another commenter said it's absurdism. They are real jokes, just not ones you enjoy, and that's okay. Again, my thought was that there wasn't jokes being made. It's not about what kind of humor it is. I understand absurdism is a kind of humor that I admittedly am not super knowledgeable about, but it's still jokes. And obviously, I talked with Venom in the comments here about the subjectivity and the entertainment value and everything, um, stuff like that. And again, it's it is subjective. Comedy, humor, like what type of humor you're into is completely subjective. Some people are very into insult humor. Some people are not. Some people like humor that has a edge to it with a lot of swearing and a lot of like gruffness. Some people don't like that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, my issue was I didn't feel like he was actually making any jokes or doing anything like that. And then with the first one we did, which was like All Eyes on Me, I was told like obviously it's part of a greater concept album, and it doesn't really work outside of the entire album like as much and stuff like that. Um, and someone even like was saying like this is probably not the best. Um, that was that was my first introduction really to Bo Burnham again outside of the Welcome to the Internet song, and it was like I guess this wasn't the proper introduction. Of course, this person was also saying take 2 seconds to research his most viewed comedy songs, um, and then just insulted me. So calling me fat, lazy, and judgmental. Um, when it's like I didn't choose just to react to that. It was requested of me. That specifically was requested of me. And then there was another person who was one of the people who commented on the second video who said, like, this is just not a great one to start with. And stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it's it's just a case where when you have an entertainer like Bo Burnham, it's like not everybody's going to get into him. And I know there's other people who aren't fans of him. And again, I have nothing wrong with the stuff he's saying with his commentary. It's just that I went into it expecting something very specific. Because I've seen comedians and I've seen like stand up comedy shows and stuff in my life, and that's what I was expecting. It was because of expectations. Because everybody always calls him a comedian. That is the label that people give to Bo Burnham. He is referred to as a singing comedian. And I've heard specifically singing comedians before, too. So it's like, again, that is what I went into this expecting. So that's why I was like more thrown off during those first two videos and saw it like again more as like a social commentary thing than comedy. Um but yeah, maybe just the wrong videos to go with. I don't know. Again, these are all requested of me. I've just been going in the order that they were requested, so we're just doing what we can. Now, today's videos, going off of that, are from God's perspective and I'm Bo, yo. Hence the stupidly cringy cold open. So, I I don't know. Ex- oh my. Ugh. It's gonna come again? Oh. Comes in twos a lot of times. Excuse me. The dog has been sneezing all morning. I'm surprised she stopped now, but ugh. Jeez. At least I felt it coming. From God's perspective, makes me just think. I guess the song or whatever is gonna be like kind of this thing about how like an interpretation of how God sees us, and specifically how humanity has evolved and in some cases devolved throughout the history of the earth or whatever. Um, and then I'm Boyo. I don't know. Bo introducing himself. That's all I can really think of with that. Is like he'd be like introducing himself and like what he's about and everything. Which also doesn't really sound like comedy. The first one sounds like it could be comedic, depending on its delivery and execution and whatnot. But, I mean, I don't know how this is going to go. And I'm just going to admit right off the bat, um, I might not like these. I might not like these. It's just going to be very dependent on how I view them and all. But again, I'm going into this knowing not to look at him just as a like strictly comedian here. And for those who might not know and might be experiencing my content for the first time with this is a redirect. This isn't the reaction. The reaction is linked to in the description below. I redirect things for copyright reasons. YouTube has a huge problem with that, and I just want to avoid any issues happening with the channel. So I redirect all my reactions. The link to the actual reaction is in the description below. This redirect, it just has my pre-thoughts before watching it and my afterthoughts after watching it. If you want to see my actual reaction while watching it, again, description below. But now that we've got that out of the way, I'm excited to see what this is about. Hopefully this will turn my mind around and make me enjoy some Bo Burnham a lot more. I'm hoping. I mean, I always hope for that, so let's get into it and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, the first of these, from God's perspective, is like I said in the reaction itself. It's just a scathing takedown of Christians who tend to be terrible. Who tend to have this view of themselves as like being better and holier, who need the promise or the threat of like hell and whatnot in order to not do bad things, which is fucked up for a number of reasons. Who like, you know, look down on others and mistreat others and stuff, who believe dumb things like, oh, it's against God to eat pork and shit. All of that kind of stuff. Again, it wasn't comedy. There were no real jokes being made. It was, again, more of a musical commentary on the state of Christianity and how fucked up it is. And there's a lot more he obviously could have talked about. Like, he seemed to be mostly focused on stuff that people are saying in like the modern day. Equivalent to the modern day. I don't know exactly when that came out. He was like young twink Bo. So it was probably like, I don't know, like a decade ago or something. But even then, still modern enough. But he could have gone into like all the horrible atrocities the church and all has committed in the past, in like decades and centuries past. Like, he didn't mention really the Crusades at all. that could be talked about. But it's just, you know, going on about like the things that like Christians like to say as like gotchas and big attacks on non-Christians and reasons to be Christian and stuff. It wasn't done in a comedic way. There were no jokes being made. It was just him singing with personality and making all of these notes about, again, all the fucked up shit about Christianity. Well, not all of it, but you know. And it was true. He was correct. As you notice, I paused it multiple times to talk about it. There is things to discuss. And yeah, it's just him noting things. And not all of it like made a lot of sense. It kind of started to like get a little scrambled at the end, where it's just like, oh, he's just kind of like rambling now. Like the entire thing was like, I made gays to control the population. It's like, what? Huh? What is that logic there? That's what? Um, but yeah, it's like, okay, so he definitely seems to understand how bad the church and Christianity can be. And again, this speaking as a Christian, speaking as someone who acknowledges that the vast majority of Christianity and the people who believe in it and, you know, lead it are fucking terrible people. There are exceptions, and there are people who are like, you know, some bad, some good, and everything. But it's like, it's very much filled with a lot of bad. It just really is. But the second song here was I'm Boyo, and this one was like, I don't know if this was like very early days. Because, I mean, it looked like he was like about the same age as the first one, but the quality of the video was shit. Like, did he record that on a potato? But more importantly, the song, I, I have a hard time like focusing my mind on things that go that fast. And I understand it was supposed to be like a rap, even though I don't really think that would be considered rap, but um like it was intentionally super fast. But and I know this might not be everybody, but maybe it's because of my autism. My mind has a hard time comprehending things that go that fast because I need time to like think about things that I'm hearing or seeing. And when it goes by that fast, my mind just doesn't have the opportunity to figure out what's being said before the next like five things have already been said. I'm trying to like comprehend one thing he's saying, and then he's already been like moved on to like five other things. And it's just like, give me a chance to breathe here. And I've had this issue with like visual representations too. Um, I mentioned like there's some moments in like anime openings and stuff where like visuals will go by way too quick, and my brain just doesn't have the opportunity to really comprehend what's going on. And this is one of those examples where it's just like I tried to grab onto like a couple things. There were a couple noticeable things that he mentioned in there, like the referencing the was it Nickelodeon? Was it Disney? I don't remember. But the old cartoon Doug. But he also had like quite a few lines about that, so that's how my mind was able to comprehend it because he's like talking about Doug's friend Skeeter, and then he goes on about that for a couple lines, and then talks about Patty Mayonnaise. I didn't fully comprehend what he was saying about them, but he mentioned that. um, and stuff like that, and he was going on about like something about it, like finding a G spot or something, but wondering what a G spot is. And it's just like, again, he was going so quick, I didn't really have the time to like fully comprehend what he was saying. That this one did seem more jokey though. I will fully acknowledge that. It seems like he was just making a shit ton of jokes in a row, like constantly, like back to back to back. Um, but it's the delivery on this one that like just it's me, and I understand that. I will fully acknowledge that it's me in this case. I just I would have to listen to that probably a dozen more times to fully comprehend it, or at the very least have the playback put onto like the slowest possible and pause it after everything he says and really like take it in, because again it's just like it goes so fast and my brain can't handle that. My brain is just not like catching up in time. um it's kind of the reason why I have a lot of trouble listening to Eminem's music sometimes, and why I have to listen a lot of times to Eminem's music to like to get what he's saying, or just read the lyrics as I listen to it. I've done that too. Where it's like, oh, sometimes in order to understand it, I have to read the lyrics as I listen to it, and then once I start to get it, I'll not need to read the lyrics anymore. But you know, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. It's just, yeah, it was too fast for me, and that's a me problem. But it was too fast for me. But yeah, the first one definitely had a lot of important good things to say. Again, a scathing takedown of the state of Christianity and the people within it. Um, Stuff like that. And the second one was just like a constant barrage of jokes that I just wasn't able to fully grasp. It's one of those that is just like that's just going to be hard for me in terms of a reaction. Um because it's like I could have tried pausing it, but I would have been pausing it so constantly. And it's like by the time I realized I wasn't like really getting it, I was already like a good amount in, and then I would have to have gone all the way back, started it over, played pause, played pause constantly, and it's just like that wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't be fun for anyone involved, me or you. It's like pausing it once or twice or something during a video, maybe even a couple more times, depending on the length of the video, is one thing as long as like I'm actually giving good enough commentary. But it's like pausing constantly, like every 2 seconds, just for the sake of trying to understand what he's saying. That's not fun for anyone. So yeah, um, like viewing it just as social commentary and stuff, I liked the first one. I don't know if I liked the second one, but I liked the first one. So there's that. But I tend to enjoy things that you know basically shit talk Christianity. Funny enough, we just put up yesterday my reaction to Heretic, and that like did quite a bit of heavy lifting for that too. But yeah, I tend to like that stuff because I shit talk Christianity. Um, as a Christian who acknowledges its flaws and its terrible people and all the bullshit that comes from it. Um, and you may be wondering, it's like, oh, if you hate Christianity so much, why are you still a part of it? Because I believe it's literally that simple. I believe in God. I believe in the message of Jesus. I believe, but I will say that I did almost leave the church completely um, after I had actually come out as trans and everything, because of the way my old church had treated me after coming out as trans. Luckily, I was introduced to my current church, which is open and affirming, which basically just means that they're accepting and progressive and, actually good people. They accept queer people in the congregation. There's a bunch of them in congregation. We do service work with Pride events every summer. We have like charities and discussions about things related to like the shit happening in the world, like with Palestine and all. Like it's a good church of good people. So it's like that's the only reason that I'm still attending church. It is literally because of this church. And I genuinely don't think, like, if I ever moved or anything, I don't think I would attend another church. Granted, this church does have online live streams for all the services, so I could just watch those. Or I just wouldn't attend church anymore because it's like, it's specifically this church that is keeping me going. Um, but yeah, so I'm a rare type of Christian who's not only super progressive and everything, but also tends to hate most of Christianity, specifically the people within it and the kind of bullshit they try to preach. Um, and if you want a specific example of someone involved in Christianity that I hate, look up Pastor Greg Locke. Locke is spelled Locke. Look him up. He is like evil. I consider him to be actively evil. He is a terrible, evil piece of shit human being. So have fun with that if you want to look that up. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, this was a set of videos. Um, I'm gonna have to look into, I guess, the second video maybe a little more. I think he was just trying to say like as much crazy out of pocket shit as possible. I think that was the joke. He was trying to be as like insulting and offensive as he could, but also not at the same time because there was I think one or two points in that where it's like he was like actively saying like, "Oh, I'm not like homophobic and stuff. I'm not like this bad." Um but then there's other points where he's just saying really crazy out of pocket shit and it's like, Okay, I have no idea how to read this." And again, I can't even tell you what it was at this point because it's like it went by so fast my mind did not like have time to register it properly. So I don't even remember most of what he said. But yeah. Um Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Venom for donating, as usual. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.